Good evening, beautiful people. It is a marvelous Monday, and we are back recapping the Real Housewives of Potomac, season 10, episode 17. Welcome home, Karen. Okay, Karen comes home. She's the grand, the queen of Siri County has arrived.
Come on! The grand dame is back, boo boo. You better tell the people. Amen. We should have had a song for her, Royaire. We should have had a song for her. We messed up.
Child, listen, the grand dame is back. That's all she needs, okay? She gonna give us her own songs and bells to this interview, Diva. Because when I tell you this is how you shut your mouth, okay? This is how you shut your mouth. And you wait for Bravo to take her.
No, Royaire. Shut the F up. Professor.
But no, in all seriousness, this is how you sit back, Diva. This is how you let the internet talk. This is how you serve your time. And this is how you allow Andy to knock on your door and come to your living room and your kitchen and let you tell your story and give the interview of your life, okay? This is how you do it. Shout out to the grand dame.
She shut that thing down. Not Andy got on a whole plane.
A whole plane, Diva, to pull up.
You think he was on a PJ?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, he was on a private jet.
For sure. No, this was a whole special for Karen. I mean, this was a whole thing. Like, no, the grand dame arrived, and he had his due diligence. He pulled up in his Cadillac car with his driver. Okay, he opened his own door. Okay, and then went and knocked on. But we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. Okay? We are gonna get into it. But Diva, excellent job. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent job. We are live on both channels, everyone. So if you can do us a favor and hit the like button on Chronicles of the Gray Hair Diva and Royaire's World, we would really appreciate it. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button and make sure you do us one more favor. Please hit the share button. Let the people know we are live and we are recapping Karen Comes Home. Okay, she's home. She's home. And she arrived, in such a way, Diva. But before we get into her arrival, let's jump into our little segment, Street News.
Come on, Street.
Okay, Diva, this has been the talk of the town for the last couple of, probably since last year, I think we were introduced to King and Quad as a couple last year at the beginning of season 11 of Married to Medicine, okay? Now, for those of you who need a little history, Quad is an original castmate of Married to Medicine. She was married to Dr. G, okay? And so her and Dr. G were together for about what, Diva? About 4 or 5 years on the show together, maybe about 4 or 5 seasons they were together. And so they decided to split ways, okay? Quad got her Sister Circle show. She thought she was above the ladies and left the show. Well, when Sister Circle burnt down to the ground, Quad needed a home to come back to, okay? And she came back. Well, guess what? By then, Greg is now dating his new wife, Letitia, and getting married, okay? So then she decides to hire King, I guess, to come on to the show. And so King comes on. And so they sit up all season long talking about they so happy together, they in love, they doing it 14 times a day, and they, get ready to have a baby and all of this. Then she brings them back this season, Diva. We going over the water, over the land, and everywhere else to have our eggs, this whatever they got going on. What they doing this treatment? What is it called again, Diva? IVF? Doing all of this to sit on the couch for this man to tell you that he don't want to do this, that he has a daughter that's just taking time away from, that he's missing money doing all of this. And you sit on the couch crying, talk about, but I really want this. You said money wasn't an option. Well, the fans weren't feeling, were we, Diva? And somebody got bold enough to ask and make the statement. And they said, I don't think they are together anymore. And so King, down here in the comment section, if you can see, King says, I can confirm that I left the situation. Not the relationship, Diva, but the situation. Were you really together in the first place?
You know, it's giving TJ from the Real Housewives of Potomac. You agreed to be in a situation, and when you agreed to be in said situation, then you, how do I say it? Then you, after you agreed to be in said situation, you bitter once it's over, and you getting slick with the mouth. He didn't have to say it that way, the situation, because it was messy. It was messy. And then he also said, then somebody else said, you know, that she was that Quad was lucky, and he said, well, the luck ran out. I just think that was real messy, the way that he did that. You know, because she didn't put a pow to his head. Whatever they was doing, he agreed to it. So when it's over, just let it be over and go on about your business. Either you're going to come out and tell us that it was a fake relationship, or you need to shut up.
Well, I feel like this is just Quad getting her get back, if you may. You know, she trashed Greg on this television, completely threw him down the drain, dragged him in the mud, cried for a divorce, talked about how horrible of a man he was. She didn't have to do all of that. All she had to do was walk away and divorce the man. So in my opinion, this is simply, you reap what you sow. You sold into a bad relationship with Greg, and you thought you was going to turn around and reap something positive in another one when you were sowing the same bad seeds into this man as well. I mean, she didn't treat this man no better than she treated Greg.
No, she did treat him better.
Oh, you think so?
Oh, she did, because she was bragging about him. You know, he's a good father. We have, and see, the thing is,
she's been bragging about Greg when they first got on the show, and I feel like that's what she does. She brags and make it look pretty for the moment, but then as soon as they don't do what she wants, or as soon as something is done, it's not her. She gonna get her get back. Watch, she gonna get her get back with King.
Yeah, so she did all of that to kind of shame Greg, because you know, her and Greg towards the end, she wasn't even sleeping with Greg, her own husband. So that's why with the whole 15 times a day came in, you know, she's messy. She real messy, and at the end of the day, it came back to bite her. But I still say that he Royaire let Quad's wig go.
I ain't letting
up. I still say that, you know, the way he responded was messy.
Okay, Snoopy said his comment makes me think she may have done something that we don't know about. Okay.
I think it might, if anything, I think it might have to do with payment. I think it might have to do with payment, because remember, he said he wasn't making no money. He gave us little hints that there, like, you know, from what we saw, that there were issues. And I think he, you know, for the greater good, he went ahead and continued the game with her. But if she's spending all the money trying to do in vitro, then what money would be left to throw some change his way to help him play along the game and offset his losses from going to Ghana with her and doing everything else.
Right.
Yeah. So I think if anything, it had to do with money, and that's why he called it a situation. But I still think, you know, he was being messy, because when you sign up for the shenanigans, you signed up for it. She didn't force you.
Right.
So,
well, listen, best of luck to both parties. You know, luckily King never moved into the house or anything, so it ain't like he got much to pack up or anything. He can literally leave the relationship, which is probably also why it was so easy for him to walk away as well, Diva, because they were never like cohabitating together or really, you know, in my opinion, what I would describe a committed relationship. I just did not get that from them, in my opinion. King always seemed like he was 1 foot in and 1 foot out.
Well, he was, and since that's why he didn't move in. But Quad, and then he probably didn't want to listen. When you have a huge home like that, first of all, Ray, and let me back up and say this. I tell people all the time, no shame in my game. My townhouse is 2 bedrooms, 1.5 baths. I have an unfinished basement, and I got a dining room too. But it takes a lot for me to keep my house in order.
Mm-hmm.
So she got a swimming pool. Mm-hmm. You notice the last couple of seasons, we barely see her anywhere else in the house. Mm-hmm. She's always doing outside or back near her swimming pool scene. We saw the bedroom with her and King, but we're not seeing too much of her home. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking because she's probably barely being able to upkeep it.
Mm. Well, like you said, the people said she got people living there too, so it's probably, occupied in other areas, So I don't know, but we'll see how this will unfold her storyline. Quad has not talked about much of anything this season. Heavenly really has been her storyline almost pretty much, other than this baby situation. So we'll see how things unfold. I was surprised to see King at the it's not joggers. What is it?
The scrubs.
The scrub. I was surprised to see him at that event.
She had to drag him. She probably begged him to just finish the season out with her. She probably begged him to finish the season out with her.
Wow.
He should come to reunion because we got questions.
We do have questions, and those questions need honest answers. We don't need no BS from Quad. We need King. Look, you just big and bold on the Instagram, sir. You need to come up on the reunion and be just as big and bold and tell the truth. Let us know what's really going on behind closed doors.
And you tell the truth and shame the devil.
How you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, that was our street news segment. We're going to go ahead and jump into our tonight's recap. We appreciate y'all for joining us tonight. It looks like we got a full house, Diva, so make sure you remember to hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to both Royaire's World and Chronicles of the Gray Hair Diva. We appreciate y'all for joining us tonight. Let's get into this. So, Diva, I'm going to try to figure out how I'm going to break this down. I think I kind of have an idea of how I'm going to do it. It was just so much that was said tonight, so we just kind of gonna roll with it and see how we can come through. Okay. So this is season 10, episode 17. This is the season finale for season 10. Karen's home. Karen Comes Home is the title. Okay. So we open up this episode. For those of you who do not know, back in March 19th of 2004, Karen Huger was pulled over after, hitting a tree, and she had kind of drove off into a ditch. And so she was arrested for DUI. Okay. And sis was lit because she told the officer, I don't need no help about the car. Ooh, I'm lit.
Oh my God.
After talking, then she talked about being Thomas Jefferson's concubine, and she's the grand dame, and nobody's gonna put their hands. I mean, Karen was lit, baby. Okay. So then they tell us on February 26th of 2025, Karen was sentenced to 1 year in jail after being found guilty of 7 counts of DUI. Okay. On September 2nd of 2025. Karen was released from prison after serving a 6-month sentence. And so she got early released at that point in time. So at this point, we see Karen coming out of the Montgomery County detention center.
Mm-hmm.
So she has on a nice little white blazer with some blue jeans and a blue button-up shirt with some red bottoms, honey. I said, come on, dress the grand dame, okay? She had a nice little blue satin scarf wrapped around her head with 5 braids hanging down from both sides, okay? And so Karen, she waves to the people and gives praying hands, and she's walking to the car. Karen gets in the truck, and she's just glad to be out of the jail, okay? She's trying not to cry. She's praying her, got the praying hands up going, and so as Karen prepares to pull off, she says, okay, let the window down. Just let it down a little bit more, okay? And so she waves to the people. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Okay? And so Karen pulls up the window, people. Look, I'm dramatic diva, and I'm here for it all, okay?
Okay. Come on now.
Karen pulls up to the house, after 6 months of not being home. And so we seen last week, we had Ray, Raven, and her sister Bridget were there awaiting, okay? Mm-hmm. As they're waiting for her arrival, Raven has said, oh my God, this is so cool. You bought Mom these flowers. You got these 2 balloons and it's welcome home sign in your favorite front. Oh my God. So Ashley is excited for her mom to come home. Karen pulls up and arrives. She gets out the car. She walks in. She immediately runs and hugs Raven as Raven is running up to hug her. It was a beautiful moment, Diva. You can definitely tell Karen missed her baby girl and her baby girl missed her mom. It was super cute. Ray got a nice little kiss on the cheek. And so she said, come on, sister. Come on. And so Bridget came in. By the way, Bridget and Karen look so much alike, Diva. I was like, oh my gosh, like, wow. Beautiful family. So, Karen shares that the ladies, when she got to jail, she had her regular hair. And so they took their extensions out of their hair, Diva. Okay. And so they put their extensions in Karen's hair so she could look nice behind the bars, and look good coming out of the bars as well. Okay. So Karen said, she was, things seemed a little underwhelming for Karen for her welcome home, Diva. She seemed a little underwhelmed, in the words of Contessa. Because she said, oh, 2 balloons. Oh, look at the sign. This is so nice. Thank y'all so much. Okay. But, Karen said she was appreciative, of that morning being able to get out. She was so happy to get home. She couldn't, have done this without Raven. She thanked Raven. She thanked her little sister Bridget for stepping up and stepping in and being there to support and helping keep things together with Ray. And she said she's gonna thank Ray a little bit later. But she said it was nice to date Ray behind the glass. Okay. So her and Ray got to do a little date, and Ray would come in and talk about politics. And of course, Karen would ask, because it was hard for her to get the TV. She didn't have her own TV, Diva. She had to fight with the other inmates to get some TV time. Okay. And so, she said there were girls in there that were in their 20s and 30s. She said, it took me 60 years to get here. What are y'all doing here? We got to clean this up and get it together. So she became, like the little godmother of the prison, okay? Helping the young ladies get their lives together. So, Karen said, this is enough. This is too much. I got to get upstairs. I need to take me a nice hot shower, get comfortable, wash this gel off me. And so that was the opening scene of Karen being back home. Diva, the dramatics was everything, okay? Mm-hmm. Karen met with PR. PR said, this is what you need to do from start to finish. And she followed the directions bit by bit. Now, I will say this, Diva, you can tell, well, in my opinion, I was able to tell that there is a little difference in Karen. This is not the usual grand dame that we're used to dealing with, okay? Mm-hmm. The grand dame has been stepped off her pedestal for a little bit. And we can tell she's still trying to get used to being back in her world. This is her first day home. But I think she looked great, Diva. Mm-hmm. She seemed to be in good spirits. It seemed that she has learned something. And so I was just totally enjoying this first opening scene of Karen in this interview, coming home, talking to the family for the first time, getting in the house and getting back regulated. Anything?
I think Karen is being Karen. I think Karen's always been dramatic. Mm-hmm. I love this. From the moment she walked out of that jail with her jeans, her white jacket on, and her shoes, and her braids, and a scarf on her head. I loved every moment of it. So, the guilty verdict on 7 counts, good gosh almighty, 7 counts of a DUI. And then, she got released from jail 6 months early, which we're going to find out, which is really nice. When she was riding and she kind of rolled down the window, to say hi. And she said, come on, driver, like get the window down. I got to wait till my people. Okay. And then when she was driving some more and somebody else, she was like, who's that? She said, roll down window. She's like, okay, that's my answer. I hope I wasn't too rude. And, when she was in the car, just like,
Mm.
She had to gather herself. Listen, I've never been to jail. I never want to go to jail.
Never.
I could imagine that it is definitely traumatic. So her coming out, I think, like she said, and we're going to learn a little later on, that, like, you know, her coming out was surreal to her, because it was like, oh my God, I was really behind bars and now I'm really free. Ray, Raven, and Bridget at the house. And you know, Bridget, her sister Karen. It was nice to see, you know, they were there. Ray J, now we know that Ray J, I mean, I'm saying Ray J, that Ray dealt with a lot with Karen, probably their whole entire marriage. So I really, even when this happened and we saw Ray come to the scene to try to save Karen, I really got a different perspective on Ray and their marriage, because I think that he hung in there with Karen through a whole lot. And then, you know, when Ray went through his tax thing, Karen should have shut up and just paid his taxes, because Ray has paid a whole lot more by being with you and standing by you as your husband. Ray, you know, he loved Karen. He could say what he want, but Ray loves him some Karen, and he always going to try to save her. So, you know, I thought it was cute. The flower, the balloon, the welcome sign. You know, Raven is old enough where she know her father is older. Raven should have came there and decorated that house for her father.
It was underwhelming, Diva. It was very underwhelming.
It was underwhelming, but Ray had to do it. He's in his 70s, almost is he almost closer to 80? So Raven, that was really should have been on Raven. You know, and maybe the sister that like kind of do a little bit more to say welcome home. Or maybe they didn't want to kind of overdo it because she was coming home from jail. Not, you know what I'm saying? Maybe they didn't want to hype up with the fans. Oh, yeah. Stephanie said she think Ray J's 82. So I get it. They wanted something, but they didn't want to do too much because she's coming home from jail. It's not like, you know, she's coming home from something else like the hospital or whatever. She's coming home from jail. So I think, you know, probably for the fact that she was coming home from jail, it was just enough, right? So them being there, I thought it was really great. You know, when Raven ran to her, and not Free Ray, when Raven ran into her arms, I thought it was beautiful. And I think Raven is actually a beautiful young lady. Mm-hmm. And she's a great mix of Ray and Karen. She's absolutely gorgeous, right? The hugs was everything. And Karen, you know, breaking down. And then, you know, her hugging her sister. And then, you know, her hugging Ray. I just thought it was the perfect thing. When she talked about those braids and the scarf and how the people wanted to send her out nicely. Listen, I will say this. Why I was here for it, because I remember back when Martha Stewart got out of jail, when she was leaving, there were people there that knew how to crochet, and they crocheted her a shawl for her exit. I will say this. It seems like when people are in jail, I don't know about all of them, but it seems like when the celebrities go to jail, it seems like those people in there do band together and wish them well, because they sent Martha Stewart out of the jail, you know, looking decent by giving her that crochet shawl. And that crochet shawl went viral after Martha Stewart got out. And so for the girls to say, you know what, because I'm sure her hair was in its natural state. And she's going to tell us later that, you know, to Andy, she got some grays. So they was like, nah, you the grand dame. We got to get you. We got to try to fix you up the best we can. So, you know, they did the best they could. And she put a scarf over it, you know, to kind of help her out. So I liked her in her jailhouse braids, okay, as she called them, okay, the jailhouse braids, right? She told Raven she couldn't have done it without her. She told Bridget she was proud of her. And she told Raymond she was, you know, talk to him later. But when she told him, listen, I this is overwhelming. This is a lot for me. And I'm paraphrasing. She said, I got to go upstairs and wash the gel off of me. Okay. So she said, I got to wash the gel off of me. She must have said that several times. I said, all right, Karen, wash the gel off of you. Because she even told Bridget, I got to go wash the gel off of me and change my clothes. And so she went ahead and went upstairs and, you know, did all of that. And I was here for the whole way they did it. I was here for the approach of it all. And I just felt it was very warming for me, because I'm just like, going to jail is not easy. But her saying, now let me back up a little bit, Royaire. Her saying that she said to the girls, it took me 6 decades to get here. Karen, Karen, you shouldn't be there. You shouldn't be there, okay? The girl should have been talking to you like, girl, how are you here in your late 60s? But
right, ma'am.
What did she call it? Triple 20s. How are you in your triple 20s, lady? They should have been pouring into you. But you know what, though? I'm glad she claimed she poured into the ladies, and that's it. Well, her saying also, too, she talked about how Ray was the only husband that came there and talked about politics. You know, well, what else was he going to talk about? How you got the 7 DUIs?
I can't.
So it was I loved it. I was here for it, Royaire. I was here for it.
Perfect. Okay, well, listen. You know, like you said, I was definitely here for all the dramatics, all the drama. You know, at first when she talked about the hair extensions, I was like, I don't know if I can believe this, because I cannot see Karen putting somebody else's hair extensions in her hair. You know, I don't know, but okay.
When you gotta use the toilet for 6 months on a steel toilet in an open cell gate, I mean, somebody giving you the hair off their head. That's why she said she got to wash the gel off of her. Okay.
Okay, Karen. Okay, girl. Right. So, you know, we have a little scene right here. 1 week later, you know, they do give Karen a little break. They give her some time to relax, release, to get back into her atmosphere. Okay, so 1 week later, Andy Cohen, okay, he flies from New York City down to Potomac, okay, down to DC. And so he pulls up in his black Cadillac late at night, because it's dark outside, Diva. I said, come on with the nighttime interview. And so Andy, he goes and knocks on the door. Ray greets him. And by the way, let's shout out Ray, Diva. Ray looks great. He looks in healthy shape. He looks like he's doing well for himself. Yeah. Ray looks really, really good. I was like, okay, Ray, we see you.
Well, you know what? Probably because he got a break from going to get Karen from
picking up her drunk ass everywhere.
This was a break for Ray too.
Child, she went into jail and he broke out of jail. Okay, so you know, Andy greets Ray at the door. Karen comes down the Grand Dame staircase. Okay, she's smiling. She's so happy to see Andy. She gives him a big old hug and shares how happy she is to be home. She, you know, Andy asks us how she's doing. She says she's doing well. She's doing well. She's adjusting to getting back home. Karen then mentioned that she did receive her note from Andy. You know, Andy said, yes, I did send you a note. And he sprayed some La Dame perfume on it so that Karen could feel like she was at home. Now, she did not get to actually smell the note or see the note because they scanned it into her iPad, because the people was like, this can't be Andy Cohen. And she was like, I think it is. So she did get the note from Andy, you know, just, you know, wishing her well and hoping that everything, you know, goes well and she comes home safely. They then go off into the kitchen. Ray said he's got a little surprise in the kitchen, so let's go to the kitchen. Brandon, Karen's eldest son, is there. And then also David, Karen's cousin that we learned about last season, who was mixed up in all of this mess. I said, not David.
That's what I said. I thought I was the only one. I said, not David.
I said, I remember David, because David was doing all of this extraness trying to protect Cameron, but it wasn't working too well. So, you know, Andy asks, you know, he shook Brandon's hand, gave him a hug. You know, they greeted one another. Andy wanted to know why Brandon don't come on the cameras, okay? He said, why you don't show up for the Bravo cameras? And Brandon had to let Andy know, I'm busy, okay? I'm a busy man. He don't have time to be frolicking around with you people. He's keeping up business. He booked and busy, okay? He said when his mom went to prison, he had to take over. overhaul, okay? He had to run the business. He had to make sure the Bravo cameras kept rolling still. The contracts were still coming in. Everything. The house was in order. The cars was paid off. He had to keep up with all the finances and all the business, okay? So he don't have time to be frolicking around on camera with y'all and y'all foolishness. He ain't got time for it, okay? You know, Karen also shared that they had several visits together in prison, you know, between the glass wall, and that it was just really nice for them to reconnect and, you know, build a relationship, you know, and learn some new things about each other while being behind the bars, okay? Andy asked how long Karen, you know, actually, how much time she actually served, excuse me. And so Karen, she said, Andy, I was not counting, okay? She said she was keeping her head down trying to get through the days, but she believes that she served 6 months altogether. And it was very surreal for her. She tried to keep, you know, they tried to keep her out of general population, but she told them that God sent her here and this is where she needs to be. So throw her in. So they did put her in general population, and she felt the need to be there because there were ladies there that needed her help. So she poured into the young ladies, but she's glad to be home with her babies, you know, and getting back to normal. You know, Karen also shares that she's not big on the cell phone thing anymore. You know, after being away from it so long, it's just not as important to her. And then Karen is learning to lean into her higher power, okay? She's leaning into God, listening to what he's telling her to do and where he's telling her to go, okay? So that was that opening scene. Anything on Brandon? You know, Brandon looks just like Karen, Diva, first of all. Let me say that. He looks just here, very handsome man. You know, I don't know if we need the cousin around because the cousin he had a lot of mess up, you know, with Karen and this alleged, you know, she was driving by herself, then she wasn't driving by herself. Somebody else was in the car. You know, he was talking to her, but then he wasn't talking to her when she got to. Cousin David, you look messy.
Cousin David ain't no more messy than Ray. Ray went to the scene talking, I give you my license. Forget about my wife license. Can I just give you mine?
Karen, be quiet. It's going to be.
He said you only had a couple of drinks, right? Yeah, I just had
a couple of beers.
Child. So, you know, I think that Karen has a good family structure.
Mm-hmm.
And she's fortunate for that. You know, because the cousin was trying to figure out how I think he was scared too. I think we heard about this accident on Royaire because it was so major and because of who Karen is. But I'm going to be honest with you. I think Karen had other near mishaps.
Oh, yes.
And she's just lucky to be alive. So, you know, Andy legit, I was thinking to myself, is she on probation? Can she not leave the state? Because I was like, but you know what, the reunion probably is taped somewhere else. I don't know. But the only reason why I said that, I said, come on, Andy, come into Karen's house. Okay. And maybe he did that because it was legit right after she kind of got out, right? So, you know, him coming to our house, I thought it was great. I thought it was everything. And, you know, Andy, but just like the most of us, Royaire, when you have a person that you like, that's your fave, it's your fave. Yeah. And Andy likes Karen. And I think he loves her. And I think at the end of the day, there have been people that went to jail for worse on Bravo, and they got to come back on the Bravo platform. So him coming there, you know, to interview her, I thought was fantastic. Ray answering the door and, you know, chopping it up with Andy, very nice. And then Karen coming down the stairs in her beige tan or whatever. We'll get more into that a little bit later.
It's blush.
It's blush, okay? Blush, honey. That she swore she would never wear again. Beige, blush, whatever, girl. Stop, Karen. You know, Karen come downstairs and she thanking Andy for coming. And then, you know, Ray brought them into the kitchen. You know, I think this was well done because everybody was asking where was her son.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was shocked. I was in complete and utter shock when we went in the kitchen and we saw the son. Listen, when we saw the messy cousin, listen, I don't know how to feel about him just yet. But, you know, I'm here for him because he tried to save, you know, his big cousin. He didn't want her to go to jail. He didn't want her all this trouble. He was on the phone with her, and just imagine how he felt. You know, it was traumatizing for him too, Royaire, because remember, he was on the phone when she crashed into the tree. So, Brandon, we sorry you had to go through this. And God knows, imagine, I'm sure they tried to contact him, you know, to see what did he know about the situation. Mm-hmm. And he probably did like the whole family been doing their whole life dealing with Cameron. He was like, I don't know. I don't remember. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, you know, I thought it was a great scene. And so when, you know, him and Karen go to sit down, because, oh, wait, let me go back a little bit right here.
Okay.
Diva is after recast. Please take a look at Angel Rich, who got 10 years for drunk driving at the fatality, 39 years old. Who's Angel Rich?
I guess she's just someone else who kind of in the same situation.
We'll go look at it, but if he killed somebody, like Karen said, ain't nobody was in the car with her.
She didn't kill nobody, thank God.
God, okay. Listen, she ain't kill nobody, so boom, there's that. Okay, so you know, Brendan, that's her son name, right?
Brendan.
How come we don't see you on the kids, whatever? Brendan said, listen, when it was most important, he came through, he had to hold it down.
Period.
Because I guess Ray didn't know what to do with the bills or whatever while Karen was gone. So Brendan had to come and step in and hold everything together. And I guess that's why Ray still got a roof over his head. So that's why Ray said, no, you come in this kitchen, Andy, and you meet Brandon.
And her cousin David, who kept putting all this bullshit. Ray said, you come meet the two positive and negative people that's responsible for all this mess, okay?
Come in this kitchen and meet them. And he was very serious, Brandon, with his cap on, so you know we couldn't fully see his face. He's a tech millionaire, a financial wizard.
And a black woman.
Okay. So listen, but you know, Brendan, you know, he held it down for his mother. He said, no, I had to come and pull and handle everything. Got time for these cameras. Well, my mother out there drinking, and now I gotta come. I gotta come in and make sure this mortgage is paid. So when she come home, she got someplace to sleep and wash the jail off of her. Shout out to her son.
Shout out to Brandon.
Okay. Oh, wait.
Okay. Good government job to come and save his mom.
And wait, and he went to the jail to visit her. Mm-hmm. He went to the jail to visit her. Mm-hmm. So, you know, shout out to Brandon. I ain't mad at him, but I wish we could have saw a little bit more of his face. Mm. But he was refusing to really, you know.
You're not going to embarrass him on these Bravo. With his drunk ass mama is bad enough. He got to be here doing this foolish. Oh my God. He said,
but you know what though? When it mattered the most,
he showed up.
Her son was in the building.
He showed up.
And you know what? That speaks volumes.
Yes.
Give it up for him. Give it up for him. Yes. Ray still got a roof over his head, and so does Karen, because of her son.
Money Amen. In the bank, food to eat.
Amen. Not food to eat.
2 balloons and a flower. Okay, he had a budget. Ray had a budget, and he used it well. Oh my God. Come on, let's go, because we got a long way to go.
Okay. We fool around.
He jumped into the interview, you know, after the kitchen scene race, Andy says he's ready to talk to Karen. He wants to have a little private conversation with her, okay? So we go into the living room. They take a seat. Andy is sitting on the left. Karen is sitting on the right, okay? So, you know, Andy immediately goes straight into his questions. How's being a free woman feel? And Karen says, you know, she's been through hell and back. She's opened up excuse me, she opens up, with the film and the internet situation. She said, let's talk about it. Andy said, let's go there. She said, let's see, the Bravo cameras tell us that 533 days later from the date that Karen claims she never seen the March 19th, 2004 video, okay? Karen tells us she refused to look at the video. She told Ray that he couldn't look at the video. Her attorneys tried to get her to look at it. She refused to look at this video. She had never seen any of the footage from her being arrested, going to the jail, everything that she said. She never seen it, okay? She was under the influence. Andy states, that there were rumors that there was a plea deal that Karen could have taken, and she chose not to take it. She turned it down. Karen stated that that was not true. She wasn't dealing in her reality, and she couldn't watch the video. Once she went to rehab, her therapist sat with her and made her watch the video. Once watching it, Karen was blown away and she understood the sentencing. Now, at that point, she had not been sentenced, but she understood then why she was going to go to jail and be sentenced. Karen couldn't believe what she saw. She didn't know it was herself. She said that was not her. That was the pills and the drinks mixed together, okay? She thought that it was nuts for her to talk about being Thomas Jefferson's concubine, and she had blacked out. She doesn't remember any of that going down, during that arrest. Andy then asks, what is Karen's relationship with alcohol now? Karen shares that she does not drink anymore. She is sober, okay? She hates that she chose drinking, and it was just too much. The body cam footage, let's see, the body cam footage, she did not want her children to see it. She didn't want Ray to see it. She didn't want anybody, and she really needed to deal with this whole drinking matter. She said 20 years ago, her children felt that there was a problem because her first incident was 20 years ago. When Karen had her first DUI, Ray, told her, I think there's something going on, but she chose to ignore it. And so she started, going to the doctors to see what she could do. And at that point in time, she started receiving prescription drug pills. Later on after that, her mom and dad passed away. And then she started altering the medication that she was being given over the counter from her doctors. Okay. So Diva, I'll stop there and we could talk about those first few things if you would like to.
Yeah.
I'll say this real quick. I can't imagine that Karen never looked at that video, Diva. I can't imagine that Ray never looked at the video. Like, no, you never, even outside of your sobriety, you just, maybe you don't remember looking at it, but I just can't imagine that Karen did not look at that over 30-minute footage of everything that was everywhere, Diva. It was everywhere. It was across the world, literally. I was just like, I can't imagine that you never wanted to at least get an inkling of exactly what your behavior was and what happened. You just wanted to take everyone else's word and not believe anybody over that. I was just a little thrown by that. Karen saying that she was sober, I do believe that she is sober. I see a different Karen. I still do see the extraness of Karen, but I don't see the wow girl that we would see on Potomac. I think that she is more stable in a mind frame of, this is my reality and I need to work in my reality.
Okay, so I can't believe that she didn't look at it. Okay. Because there are sometimes some things that you are so embarrassed about in your life that you just don't even want to face it. Yeah, she knew it broke the internet, but never watch it. Make sense. Yeah, I think, like she said, like she's gonna say later on, like she said later on, that her therapist made her like watch it and face it. Do I think maybe she told Ray not to watch it, but he did? I can believe that happened. I don't think Ray not watched it because Ray already knew who he was dealing with Karen, right? Because later on she's going to get in the legal seafood situation and how that was over 20 years ago. So I could believe she didn't watch it because I've known people that been through some stuff. Yeah, fresh story. She was too embarrassed. I know some people that have been through some stuff and they just don't want to revisit it. They don't want to look at it. They don't want to talk about it. So that wasn't too much for, too crazy for me. But I like the way they handled the interview because she said, all right, let's go ahead. Let's go get into it. The video that broke the internet, right? So she said, and she talked about how her lawyer told her to take this plea deal. So that proves to you right there that she was in so bad a denial, like she said. She was in severe denial, and she said she has a dual diagnosis. She's an alcoholic, and then unfortunately, you got to say like a recovering drug addict, right? And so there's a lot of people when they're addicted, they don't want to revisit the things that they did when they was in the throes of their addiction. I know plenty of them. They don't want to revisit that they beat their mother up, that they robbed from their own family. They don't want to, because then it puts them into shame. And it's like, how can you recover if you keep revisiting and shaming yourself? Yes, right. So I do get it because I have dealt with a lot of people, in addiction. And but the difference with Karen in this situation is that it now involves something legal that you should have looked at it, right? And so that's why she said with her therapist helped her look at it, and she was truly embarrassed. And she was like, oh my gosh, she said, I did not recognize that person in the video. Right. And so if you have ever had the opportunity to speak to someone, who is recovering drug addict or alcoholic or whatever, some of them don't even listen. If I not even do a alcoholic, I have known girlfriends that have gotten drunk and the next night they was like, oh my God, don't tell me I did X, Y, Z, Z, Z. They don't want to think about it. They was like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Right. And, they want to stop drinking that way because they don't want to revisit what they did the day before. So imagine, Karen, you got a whole video. You talking about you, Thomas Jefferson, contraband. You talking about you lit, and then she wasn't looking her grand dame best in that video. It looked like her wig was starting back here. It was horrific. It was horrific all the way around. So I think I wouldn't need help with somebody telling me to look at it. But if my lawyer saw it though and told me, girl, you may not want to look at it, but you need to take a plea deal. But like she said, she was still in the throes of her addiction when they was trying to tell child calling the cop for it. Bad. It was just bad. It was just
bad behavior in the words.
It was just bad. It was just bad. So bad.
So okay, Andy asked, what meds what were the meds for? Karen said that she couldn't answer, because she could be sued, but they were antidepressants. But she is sober now. She really reiterated that again. Andy asked, so when were you under the influence and how did that manifest itself? How much were you drinking? Karen said that it wasn't really the drinking that was her issue. She was on the pills, okay? And so this is where I kind of was like, okay, Karen, we're denying, we talked about the alcoholism your last season that you were on the show. You specifically said that you were not drinking at all. So Karen, come on. Karen claims that she was running from home that night, and that's why she was out drinking and having pills.
I clutched my pearls. Now she was running from Ray Ray.
Like Ray old behind was gonna do something to you, girl, but okay. She said that she was unhappy being in the house, unhappy being in her marriage, and she was just glad that she didn't kill anybody that night, and she's grateful to be alive. Karen said, to be honest, she doesn't drink and drive. It just happened to happen that one time. And so Andy had to correct her and said, well, you've got 4 DUIs. This has happened 4 times. And so Karen did inform him, no, she's only got 2 DUIs, which one of them was 20 years ago. Excuse me, okay? Excuse me, 2 of them were 20 years ago, and then this recent one that she just had. Andy then goes back to the day that she was sentenced, and asks Karen, was she surprised about her sentencing? Karen wasn't shocked, okay? She said she was not shocked at all. Karen knew that she was going to jail. Or excuse me, she said she was shocked about the year. I'm sorry. She knew that she was going to jail, but she thought it would be like for a month or 3 at the max, but not 1 year. And, you know, she had to really take ownership of everything that she did in that moment. She really had to come to the understanding, especially after watching the video, seeing everything that went down. And she does give a shout out to her lawyer. She says she had amazing attorneys, okay? They told her, Karen, this is not going to look good. You need to take a plea deal. But as Karen said, I was in denial. I wasn't, you know, operating in reality. She was still on prescription drugs, and she was still drinking. Andy asked Karen about getting early release. Karen said she went to work immediately as soon as she got to the jail. She took responsibility for the accident. She asked what could she do to volunteer to do some work in the jail. And so Karen led NA and NNA classes in the jail center while she was there. Now, Andy was a little curious of how, you know, you're qualified to run these classes when you have a problem yourself. And so Karen shared, well, she went to Florida. That's why she was not at the reunion last year. She did go to Florida to meet with the therapist and to check into rehab. Down in Florida is when she did watch the video and all of that information, as we talked about earlier. She said that she got the tools that she needed in order to help herself and to help others. And she went into the jail to help treat others. And that's, you know, what her job was every day. Andy asked how Ray was while she was locked up. Ray and Karen did a lot of work on their marriage, she shared. They had a lot of issues prior to going to marriage. As you know, she has been open and honest with the cameras on Bravo about that. They talked about the things that contributed to Karen's unhappiness. She faced her demons. Karen talked about growing up, and she stopped growing emotionally at 19 because of an SA situation that happened to her, and it caused her emotionally to shut down. And Karen had to work through her sexual trauma and address the other traumas in her life in order to heal her addiction. 20 years of addiction, minimal treatment, and now she well, because since we gonna talk about it, let's talk about it. You are fresh out of rehab, ma'am. You ain't even been in rehab for 90 days. You went to rehab for what, like a couple of weeks before you had to fly back to Potomac to get your sentencing to go to jail, ma'am? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. You're not coming up in here teaching nobody nothing. If anything, you need to be sitting down in the classroom, and they need to have an instructor coming in teaching this class. But what I will say is I am here for Karen's openness and willingness to go into jail, to do some work, to actually be a productive member of society in the jail and not be the grand dame that she is, quote unquote, been labeled to be. You know, Karen and this whole not accepting her, whether they're 4 DUIs or 2 DUIs, ma'am, they are DUIs that you should not have at all. These incidents could have killed you or someone else. And it is by the grace of God that any of the 4 incidents that you've been in. And she just talked about the 4. She don't talk about maybe the other countless times that other issues has happened, because she said 2 of the instances were DUI related, but they were not DUI crimes that were committed or that were filed with, you know, criminal court. That wasn't the issue. So it seems that you're still denying this issue that you're carrying, in my opinion. Did you receive it that way, Diva?
You know, I was having a discussion, it was about something different with my nutritionist the other day. And the healthcare system has a way of like keeping us locked in, like patients for life, right? With these different medications, it's like you're gonna be on it for life. Okay, you're gonna be on the heart medication darn near for life, unless you drastically, turn your nutrition and exercise and all of that around. So I bring that up to say this. Where I agree with Karen is a little bit in terms of how you look at your recovery.
Okay.
Because if you constantly saying I'm a recovering alcoholic, it's you reminding yourself every day that you had this alcohol problem. I mean, what a horrific way to live the rest of your life is every day you got to remind yourself that you're a recovering alcoholic and now you 10 years sober, you 20 years sober. I just I don't I wish there was another concept they can give them. Yes, they're always probably going to have those tendencies, but I think you lock them into this shame, so to speak, into this title. It's like this tag is on them that you always got to tell people you are recovering alcoholic or drug addict or whatever. And in the meantime, you've been 10, 20 years sober. So I don't necessarily feel that she's in a whole lot of denial. I think it is hard to live your life out open in public. And I think it's hard for her to wrap her mind around the fact that here she is with a dual diagnosis of drinking alcohol and taking prescription drugs. And to back it up, I'm not going to take lightly that she was ARD when she was young. And then on top of her being ARD, nobody in the family believed her, right? And so she had a lot of feelings that she had to bury. And then she started to bury them in alcohol. And then it didn't help when she got these prescription drugs. And then she started to double down on the prescriptions. So I just want them to find a better way to, I got a sugar addiction and I fight it every day, right? But when you got a food addiction, everybody is a little more sympathetic with you. When you got an alcohol or drug addiction, they just be like, well, you just need to stop. Well, just like they can't just stop, because I can't just stop the sugar. Sometimes the sugar out of nowhere call my name, right? It's the same thing for them. So it's not like if I was 500 pounds and I got down to 110 or 120 or 30, Royaire, they're not going to tell me to keep saying that I got to keep saying I'm a recovered obese person. I just feel like I want them to handle and deal with those diagnoses a little bit different. So I understand Karen kind of rewriting her history a little bit in terms of how she deals with it, right? Okay. I wish I wrote down the exact words she used. I have to go back and find.
I'll talk about it in just a moment because I did write it down what she said. Okay. But I want to talk about Karen's sentencing time as well. I don't think Karen, this 1 to 3 month thing, honey, you had too much going on just to have 1 to 3 months.
She was in for 6 months.
No, I'm talking about she thought she was going to get 1 to 3 months. Remember, that's what she said.
That's what the deal was going to be that she didn't take.
Yeah, no, but yeah, ma'am, 6 months would have been better to me. We at 4 legal issues when it comes to drinking and driving. 4.
2 because the other 2 really didn't involve.
Because we stayed at the 4 seasons, Diva. Okay, so it's 4.
The other 2 didn't involve me really drinking or whatever else she said. Okay.
She said they weren't cited, but they were still.
But let me just say something to Lawson real quick. So, but see, if you think about manifesting and all of that, see, the thing is, we pick and choose how we want to do things, right? You wouldn't tell a person, the first thing they tell you when you're about to lose weight is don't keep looking in the mirror and calling yourself fat. They tell you don't say that about yourself, because words become things, right? So, but again, what kills me in this situation, they want you to constantly remind yourself that you're a recovering alcoholic or drug addict. Like, why do I have to constantly remind myself of that? I know what I've been through. I know what I went through, but I'm here now and I'm better now. And if I fall off the wagon, then let's deal with it again then when I fall off the wagon. But why every day, everywhere I go, I got to tell people I'm 10 years sober? I don't know. I want it different. That's all I got to say.
Look, when I get on Fat Diva, I'm going to be like, I'm 10 years unfat.
Listen. This is, Royaire, my whole life, I am fighting this thing like a beast. My whole life, I was average 130 pounds. Child, now the scale is just lying to me over and over again every time I step on it.
Listen, it's rough out here on the scale.
It's rough.
It is rough.
Yeah, I've been trying to drink water all day. I walk, I run, I squat, I jump. It's rough. All I'm saying is that I'm not in agreement with this, reminding yourself all the time, this is who I was.
Yeah. And I don't want to make light of it either. Her sexual trauma that she went through, that is something major. Diva, Iyanla has even told us most people growth stops at their first trauma. And not to say that was her first trauma, but that is a major trauma. Karen also shares with us that people didn't believe her, that, she told, her family. And so now you're having to create this protection of yourself to have to protect yourself, trying to forget about what happened as well. Like it's so much that added on top of to it, not to give it an excuse at all, but I see where Karen was coming from, when she was explaining that. So Andy felt that Karen was not owning the narcotic situation, but not the alcoholism, issue. Karen says the therapist had a hard time informing Karen that she had a drinking problem as well. Okay. She struggled with that in therapy. It was not easy for her to. It was easy for her to acknowledge the prescription drug issue because it was a prescription that the doctors wrote to her. So she could find that a little bit easier. But the alcoholism was a choice because it was choosing to pick up that bottle and choosing to throw it back every day. Okay. She said that was a choice that she just really struggled with. Karen did not have a drinking problem, or she said that she did not have a drinking problem. She's choosing to live a lifetime of both drinking and pill sobriety, okay? So that is, she choosing not to say that she has a drinking problem, but she is choosing a lifetime of recovery for both drinking and pills. The last time that Karen had a drink was right after the accident, okay? Andy asks, does Karen consider herself an alcoholic? Karen considers herself a person living a lifetime recovery because there are two things that she is fighting with, okay? Karen feels that people can label you all day long, but until you identify yourself, you can't heal. I said, come on, now that was a word. You gotta identify you.
Wait, and Royaire, not to cut you off, y'all really think Karen didn't take accountability in this interview? I felt she did.
I think she ducked and dodged accountability in certain areas.
Oh my God.
But I think in this scene where I'm talking about now, I do think she kind of took accountability here. But earlier in the interview, she told us she didn't have a drinking problem. When clearly you had a drinking problem, ma'am. She thought the pills was the problem, not the drinking. Until her therapist made her realize that she had a drinking problem. And then she says to us, well, I have two problems. I have drinking and a pill problem. But it seems like that drinking thing, she just don't want to take single acknowledgement of. Okay.
I put up that one, Royaire, because only me and I'm 50 Gold feel like she took accountability because everybody else is agreeing with you.
Sometimes you got to be on the island by yourselves, and it's okay.
We standing with the grand dame. We standing with the grand dame. I felt she took accountability. I mean, what did she got to say in that thing? Y'all saw the video. Y'all saw her looking a hot mess. Y'all saw her saying she was lit. What do y'all want for her? She can't, no. She's not answering about those pills.
She can't legally do that. Yeah.
Because if she say what those pills are, then other people may start to say that, because I took XYZ pills like Karen did. That's the reason for my DUI. That's the reason for my problem. No, she couldn't. And like she said, finally, I'm listening to my lawyers. Yeah.
Paige is with you.
Yeah, come on, Paige, holla.
Karen is 20 years drinking and being functional. Okay.
Mental gymnastics. Don't be too hard on the grand dame. Y'all need to stop.
Okay. Y'all need to do a poll. Okay, let's do a poll real quick, Diva. Let's do a poll. Okay.
Let me stop.
Yeah, I gotta end mine. Yeah, in poll. Okay.
Well, the thing is, will it come on both our channels if you do it? You do it first.
Okay.
And then I'll do it.
Take.
Well, maybe I'll do it too. I'm put the Karen stand. Business. Y'all playing games.
Okay, I said, did Karen take accountability in this interview?
And I said, did Karen stand on business in this interview?
Okay, start the poll. Here we go. All righty, we got a poll on both channels, y'all. So go over there and vote and let us know. Did Karen stand on business? And did Karen, what did I say? Did Karen, did she take accountability in this interview? Let us know down in our poll section. Let's see. Karen does talk about going to meetings. She's still in recovery. Andy brought up a promise that Karen made to the judge about going to meetings. Karen said that she did not promise the judge to attend AA for lifetime, but she does go to meetings. Andy wanted to know about Karen homecoming, who got her clothes and everything and all of that. So I'll stop right here for a second. Karen saying that her last drink was after the accident. Obviously, she still had not really come to the realization of everything that was going on. And I like that she was honest about it, Diva, because she could have said, I never had another drink after the accident. But I do feel that she stood on business. And she even shared with us, that's why she was not at the reunion. She had to go to the rehab because she still was living in denial, not thinking that she had a problem with the drinking and the pills. Let's see. Anything you want to share in that?
I mean, I felt like she was telling her truth the best she could, and without tearing herself all the way down. We saw what it was. It was what it was. I'm going to back up a little bit and say that, her children were devastated, she said, when they saw the body cam footage. And I'm sure that put a lot of shame into Karen, too. She had a lot to be, to kind of recover from, because the world saw this video. This wasn't a private thing because, of who she is, right? She said, she talked about her early release and how that happened and how everybody, I don't watch the show, therefore I won't be able to vote. Okay. So she said she take full responsibility. And you're correct. She's acknowledging more of the narcotics addiction versus the alcohol addiction. And again, I guess that's her brain telling her that, this is me just guessing why. I think because before she's been drinking for a long time, because later on she's going to admit how when Ashley talked about the legal seafood situation, how true that was, right? So I think she's been drinking for a long time, and when she got drunk, her decision wasn't as bad in her mind until she started utilizing the prescription medication with the alcohol. And I think that geared her up to the point where she got arrested this last time and went to jail. So I think that is where she's leaning more towards my real problem is these prescription pills and not my drinking, right? Because we have seen, let's be clear, we have seen on all of these reality shows, these girls get drunk. They got lit, so to speak. So I think with Karen connection in her brain right now, and I'm not saying this right, is that because of those prescriptions and me doubling down on them and making them, taking them not the way they were supposed to be taken and then drinking is the reason why I found myself in the trouble that I found myself in, right? And we're going to see later too that, Giselle said where Karen was drinking at is 4 minutes from her house or something like that. So she probably thought like, hey, I could make it home, right? So
as so many people do, unfortunately.
You are correct.
Many people do. This is just not a celebrity problem. So many people think, oh, I'm just down the street or I'm just 10 minutes away. I could make it.
Yeah. And so just like, just the other day, Sha'Carri Richardson, the track star, driving 100 and something miles per hour. Then her alleged addicted boyfriend comes with paraphernalia in the car to come save her. and I'm just like, okay, y'all both are just
foolish.
Well, we'll use the word foolish, right? So, people in those situations, they really don't realize their own problem. And they don't realize how bad it is. So, her saying she was able to do programs. Listen, if you follow the Diddy case, they said the same thing with him. If he goes to this jail that he's currently in now and get into some programs, he'll be eligible for early release. Same thing, Fetty Wap. He just got out of jail. He said he got early release because he did some programs. If everybody else could do a program and get early release, then Cameron can too. Period. Now, do I think she was necessarily qualified to be running the AA or NA meeting? No, I don't. I think they should have found another job for her to do to get early release. But you know what? The jail was about the foolery, so we're going to continue on, okay? Letting her run them meetings. How you running them? Like somebody said in the chat, how you running the meetings? You 20 years addiction deep. You went to rehab for 2 days. And you up in the jail running the meetings?
And still talking about you ain't got a drinking problem, but okay.
Don't do Karen. But that's all I got with that, Royaire. Don't do Karen.
Okay. So, as I was saying earlier, Andy wanted to know about Karen's coming home, her clothes and everything. Karen said that she did, have a jail suit. She wore a beige jumpsuit in jail. So, there was a uniform that she wore. Tatiana, her makeup artist, brought her clothes, so that's how she was able to come home, looking so nice, if you may. Andy asked,
let me just, Royaire, so I won't forget, let me just throw this in when you talked about the clothes or whatever. Why didn't Raven and Bridget get her clothes? I was like, why did Tatiana have to give a shout out to Tatiana? But my first thought was why did not Ray or Raven or Bridget send some clothes with Tatiana for Karen? That was confusing to me.
Well, I guess Tati was doing her visit for the day, so she said, well, let me drop off some clothes to you since
Child.
Maybe that was her day visit. She realized she was getting
out. Child. I don't know that. I just was like,
They came around.
Gabrielle said they had to set up the balloons in the printer.
Karen Huger, you're being released. Early release, Karen Huger. I believe it is. She's here with your clothes. Let's go. Pack it up.
Yeah, I cannot.
But let's see. Andy also asked Karen what she missed most while in prison. Karen feels that she gave her this gave her an opportunity to see what's important in life. But she missed Raven most importantly. They are very close. You know, she knew when she was going to go to jail. She was laying on the couch, they were sleeping together, and she took a picture of them holding hands together. And that was one of the other things that kept her going while there. Karen was happy to be in her natural self while she was in jail. No wig, no makeup, you know, no hair. Other than her own, she was able to see her real hair, and she sees that she's got some white, you know, highlights that have come in, and so she's really enjoying that white highlight right now. And so when she comes back, she may be wearing more white hair. Okay. Karen did not have a roommate, but she did have a cell to herself. She had a steel toilet and a steel sink. Karen said, you know, she ain't gonna be able to sit on this throne. She needs some cushion. So she went to the CO. She said, listen, my menstrual cycle, it's a lot. I need about 7 pads, okay? She said she got her 7 pads and she lined her throne, and that is what she used, you know, in order to sit on the toilet seat for her 6 months there. Let's see, what's a day in the life?
Royaire, that was so gross when I heard that.
Listen, you got to do what you got to do, okay? Hell, I'm going to
you sitting on pads. You mean to tell me none of your excretions is getting on these pads? Ew. I was grossed out.
She was there for 6 months, you know, so she probably got a monthly supply, and she just changed them. Listen, sis was behind the bars. You got to do what you got to do, okay? You got to make it work. Andy wanted to know what a day in life in prison was like. Karen said that she wakes up about 4:30 for breakfast. Breakfast served at 5, but she has to get up at 4:30, so she has no issues. Of course, you got to make your bed and make sure everything is in order and in place. She didn't want no problems, so she got up extra early to make sure everything was aligned. Karen talked about how she loved the discipline and the structure that the jail gave her, you know, and I think that's so interesting, Diva, because, you know, they say all the time that children crave structure and discipline, and I think naturally as we flow into adulthood, you also crave some kind of structure and discipline. So I guess it was nice for her and nice to see that she got back to the fundamentals of life. I feel sometimes we get so caught up in our lives that we lose the basic fundamentals of doing things in life. So I thought that was very interesting to see that she kind of got that perspective while being in jail.
Well, let me just throw something in while you're there. Well, see, that's why they say most people don't make it through college. Because from birth darn near to high school, you're being told what to do, when to be there. You're going to have lunch. You're taking this class. You're doing this. You're doing that. Lunch. Your lunch period is here. And when you go to college, you get to make your own schedule. And a lot of people just can't handle it. Right? And that's why they said you got to kind of, you know, ease your way and teach your kids on how to do and make their own decisions so that they will do well when they go to college. But I did, just to throw in with you, I did find it interesting. Like, God, you got to get up 4:30 in the morning because breakfast.
Isn't that crazy?
And honey, make your bed. They ain't playing up in this jail, okay? You're going to get your life together. And then, you know, she said about 4:30 was dinner. She said 9:30 she would take a class, okay? She said the food was horrible. She survived on astronaut food, but go ahead, and then lights out 9:45. So no matter what you want to do, they don't give a darn. 9:45, you better get up in that cell and get in the bed.
Because you got to be back at because you got to be back at 4:30 anyway. So get your ass in there.
Lights out. Yeah, and dinner's at 4:30. Yo, Will, I was thinking the same thing. Will, I'm be like 4:30 dinner. I'm gonna be hungry.
I'm hungry.
Well, listen, Royaire, I will lose some weight up in the jail.
Okay. She said there was some of the chicken bird was there, but she didn't eat it. She did have the tuna little snack, the packages. And she had some crab meat. That's all she was really able to eat.
Yeah, she had some chicken.
Karen said she didn't eat the dirty bird, okay?
Whatever, Karen. Whatever.
She said the first few nights she was definitely scared, but she talked to God and God allowed her to have peace. Karen was not worried about going back into the hornet's nest when it comes to the Real Housewives of Potomac ladies. You know, she's secure and, you know, who she is and what she's got going on, you know. And she did mention that she did not see the last reunion of Potomac last season. So that was pretty much that area. We did talk about the food, and you know, Diva, you know, it's hard to start. It's hard to survive in the jail. Okay, Karen said she was up early and in bed early. Okay, doing her thing. You know, but it's good to see that she was able to fall into the structure of it. It's good to see that she wasn't being the grand dame, as we said. So in that area, I feel like she came into the jail. She took accountability. She did what she needed to do, and she made it out. And you know, it was what it was for Karen. Teaching this class, I'm not really sure about that. Like I said earlier, you know, her lining her toilet with the pads. Listen, that's a great idea, Karen. I may need, well, I don't plan on going, but you know, listen, you got to do what you got to do. I ain't trying to
unsanitary. It's gross and unsanitary. I thought to myself, what? That is disgusting.
Well, it ain't no worse than putting somebody else's weave in your hair. You don't know if they got lice, dandruff, or anything else. So she was just fitting in with the crowd, okay? Trying to fit in General Pop, okay? Because she told them to put her in General Pop.
not Paige said they put Karen on automatic intermittent fasting.
Oh my God. I can't.
Oh my God. Child.
Listen, you got to do what you got to do, okay? We're coming to a close, Diva, in our final interview scene. So I'll kind of push through this pretty quickly. Andy brings up the ladies, you know, having a lot to say at the reunion. He said that it was from concern, but he wants to show some clips just to get Karen's reaction. Andy, you know, shows the clips. And then Andy asks the ladies in the clip, why did Karen not take the plea deal? Now, Ashley said that Karen had horrible lawyers. Stacey felt that Karen may have not remembered what happened that night, and maybe that was the first time she saw it, so she was still in shock and in shame and really didn't understand. Wendy shares, weeks ago, it was reported that her counsel asked that the footage be suppressed in the courts, which we know that did not happen because it all come out. Ashley shares that a journalist shared with her that Karen was in a car accident, and there was apparently someone else in the car, okay? And they fled the scene, you know, after the accident. She shared about that. Giselle shared that she probably was at the restaurant down the street by her house. And although, you know, it was just a few minutes away, she just couldn't make it home. You know, unfortunately, she probably thought she could, but she couldn't. And then Wendy shares about some information, you know, that she had received. But Ashley actually brought it up. You know, Ashley was saying she was on the way to the reunion. She was talking to a man on the train. Apparently, this man said he recognized Karen. She would come to the restaurant, legal seafood, and you know, get toe down every day. Okay, she came in there and, well, he didn't say get toe down, but she would come in there and drink throughout the day every day. Karen's reactions from everything. She said that Ashley is correct about legal seafood, but that was 20 years ago. That rumor is correct, though. She has no clue what Wendy is talking about, and she said, who would even talk to Wendy, because she lives in Timbuktu, okay? I said, come on, Reed. You better be back and ready to get the girls together. But no one else was in the car with her. She does share that, so that was not true. And then Karen feels that the ladies were not wrong for making assumptions and coming up with their own conclusions about what, you know, may have or may not have happened. Andy had one more last footage for Karen's speech last season. Wendy was not happy that she didn't get thanked during the video. And Karen shared, you know, and Wendy said that this is not my friend. I don't know this person. Andy asked Karen, why did Wendy not get thanked? Karen says that Wendy knows why she didn't get thanked. That is a conversation that they need to have. They had a friendship, and she's willing and open to having that conversation when it's time. But she knows why she did not get thanked. Karen says she received support from all of the ladies, even including Giselle. She said Giselle reached out several times to Ray to check in, and she did a great job. But at that time, she was only speaking to family and, close friends. But, she did thank Giselle. And she said all the ladies reached out to her except for Wendy. Wendy was the only one that did not show support during this time. Andy talks about the viewers feeling that Karen may not, be worthy of coming back to the Bravo network and to the Real Housewives of Potomac. Karen doesn't know that she deserves to come back either. Karen feels that the people are right and she has to earn her way back into the Bravo family, but she loves the Bravo family and, she is going to do everything she can, to help prove that. Karen admitted that she does have an alcohol and pill prescription disease. She has a problem, and she has admitted to it. Ray said that if things don't work out after Karen gets this monkey off her back, if things cannot work out between the two of them, that he is open and willing to letting her go and be free so that she can soar and be the best version of herself. And then for our final question, what were you covering up that caused the drinking and the drugs? Karen shared that not being able, to be or telling her family about the sexual things that happened to her and them not believing her and carrying that into adulthood and other issues were a part of the cause. Karen admitted that she was in denial. And she forgave herself and she loves herself. Karen thanked Andy for coming. Andy thanked her for her honest answers and sharing. And that was the end of the interview. Diva, overall, I have to say, excellent interview. Excellent interview. She got some really hard questions. Andy did not let up. And she ducked and dodged a few questions, but she did what needed to be done. She told her story. She shared her version of her story, her truth, and she's walking away and taking accountability. And I think in that final moment when she said that I do have a drinking and a drug problem, she admitted to having issues, okay? She has a disease and she's working on healing herself, forgiving herself, and moving forward and proving to the Bravo family and fans that she is ready and willing to come back and give us her best version of herself yet.
Listen, I was here for the whole interview. Andy got to do shade, and if he didn't, it wouldn't be him talking about, oh, let me show you some clips. Let me show you one more clip.
Messy.
And like the way that Karen admitted, like, yeah, the legal sequel thing is true, right? So overall, though, Royaire, I was here for the whole interview. I forgive you. I too, Karen. Yeah.
I forgive you, Karen, too. You didn't kill nobody, girl.
But most of all, what I really loved is I really loved how, Andy embraced her. And, at the end, she thanked Andy for coming. And how Andy, we didn't talk about it, but Andy wrote her leather when she was in jail. I just
at the beginning with the Ladon spray.
But I enjoyed it. Yeah. I really did. And I forgive Karen. Because, listen, we all fall short. But can you did you get up is the question. Okay. So if these people walking around here, Royaire, that they was on Epstein Island and y'all good with them, then I'm good with Karen.
Listen, I thought it was a great interview, Diva. for the very first ever like real sit down with a Bravo Leb who has gone through such a traumatic experience. I thought it was a great interview. I thought Karen did an excellent job. She articulated herself well. You can really tell that she was of sober mind, heart, and spirit. She came with honest answers. You know, she's still navigating her way through all of this, as we can see. But I definitely forgive her. You know, and I'm always here for a second, third, and fourth and fifth chance, okay? Because God is a God of a second, third, and fourth chance, so why can't I be? So,
depending on what you did.
Well,
because there's some things that you did that you know what your second chance got to be life in prison.
That's true. That's true.
We form the inmates, but we don't need you back in these streets.
Oh my God. Come on.
You know, but overall, totally enjoyed the interview. Let me tell you where my poll ended up.
Oh, yes.
Let's see. Let me end the poll. Yeah. Let me end the poll. Did it go? Oh, wait. Did my poll name? I ended it. Where did it go? Oh, here we go. My poll. Did Karen stand on business? 56% of y'all said no, and 44% said yes.
Okay. I got 75% that said no, she did not take accountability, and 25% that says yes.
Y'all just did Karen all kinds of
rough on the people.
Yeah, you did Karen all kinds of dirty. But you know what, Karen? Keep your head up, because you're growing here for you, okay?
Listen, as long as you keep your head to the sky. And after you keep your head to the sky, Karen, you fly above all the haters. You fly above, okay? Listen, but that has been our recap of season 10, episode 17 of the Real Housewives of Potomac. Karen Comes Home. At the end of every recap, we like to get your thoughts and opinions on the episode on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst and 10 being the best. Leave your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section, and we will get to those in just a moment. Diva, your rating for this episode?
10 out of 10. The fact that, you know, she was willing to right out the gate let them film her coming home from the jail. The fact that Andy came to the house. The fact that Brandon was there and so was David. I'm here for it. You know, holla at Raven. Come on, Bridget, for showing up, baby sis.
Okay. Because she said sis stepped in right on time.
And Ray, you even went to that jail and was talking to Karen behind the glass.
Dating your wife.
Well, you know what, Royaire? That's what you call for better or for worse. She was running away from him that night. He still went to the scene of the accident. It was like, oh, we can't find her license. Can I just give you mine? Ray, a husband.
A good man.
He's a good man, Savannah.
Savannah.
Out to Ray. So no, this is a 10 for me, cross the board.
Okay. Listen, for the first time ever, like I said, to be doing something like this, to have a Bravo celebrity in this type of situation come home and do an interview, I can't give it nothing but a 10, Diva. It was a 10. Excellent interview, excellent production, excellent questions. The questions were on point. You know, Ray being there, Bridget, you know, Raven, Brandon showing up, David. I mean, everybody was in place doing their part and showed up and showed out. It was a great interview to me. You know, I could ask for nothing more. It didn't degrade her. It didn't, you know, make her look crazy or anything, but it spoke truth to power. She spoke her truth. She, you know, she said what she needed to say, and it was an excellent interview. And I think it was great. So good.
Yeah, and you know, Emmanuel, with her leaving him, I think that at the end of the day, she gonna find herself in a Nene Leakes situation where Nene wanted to leave Greg, and she did, and they got that divorce, and then she ended up going right back to Greg.
Yeah,
I think that's what Karen's gonna find out. The streets is mean and nasty, and these men won't come pick you up from a date. You be like, my tire's flat. They be like, did you call AAA?
Don't do me, okay?
They be like, yo, did you call AAA? So
yeah, did you call AAA?
So the fact that Ray went to the scene of the crime and tried to save her, and he really tried to tell her to shut the F up in a nice way. He was like, you had you didn't really drink that much, did you?
Mm-hmm.
She said, no, I got you drinks.
It was a security guard that you hired for me. He was driving and he drove off. Look, she's sitting in the car with her hands. I'm the ground dom. They call me the ground dom. I don't need no help getting out. Ooh, I'm lit. I'm Thomas Jefferson's concubine.
So,
oh my God, let's get into
it. Mess around and leave Ray if she want to.
Listen, play around if you want to. Okay, let's see. Too Fine is giving it a 4. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. The recap is a 9. Interview a 6. Y'all kind of changed my mind on some topics she answered. Okay, we're glad to give you some perspective. Yes, that's what we like. Mm-hmm. A 3. This episode was boring.
Oh, dang. Definitely.
Y'all wanted Kira to take us to a tour to jail?
No, good, not for you.
Here's my steel toilet that I had to sit on for 6 months.
These are maxi pads I use to line the toilet. These are 4 girls over here that gave me their hair for these jailhouse braids. Come on now, don't do Karen.
And this is how the bars close.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. He gave this episode a 10. Grace and Mercy. Okay. Let's see. Ocean Dreaming gave it an 8. Snoopy gave it a 9. I Am 50 gave it a 9. One more balloon. Yeah, just one more. Oh my God.
Not one more balloon. I cannot.
Lorraine gave it a 9 as well. Let's see. Elisha gave it an 8. Paige gave it an 8.5. Classy gave it a 5.
Yeah, the people being hard on Auntie Karen.
They are. January gave it a 10. Welcome home, Karen. Yes. All righty. Look, Ray for life, okay? Shout out to Ray. Ray for life.
Ray for life. They don't make them like Ray no more.
They don't make them like Ray no more, baby, okay? They do not.
Now you dealing with your addiction for 20 plus years? Child.
He told you 20 years ago you had a problem. I don't have no problem, Ray. You got a problem. Okay. This has been a great night, everyone. We appreciate each and every one of y'all for joining us. This has been our recap of Welcome Home, Karen. We are glad to have the Grand Dame back. She is back in her palace doing her thing. And it was a great interview, Diva. All jokes aside, it was a really good interview. I'm glad that Karen has come to the realization, even if it's not a full realization, at least she has some realization and recognizing that she has a problem in both the drinking and the prescription drugs. And I love that she is on the road of sobriety, that she is continuing to take her classes, even outside of the jail. She told us specifically that she does like NA better than regular AA. And so it's just nice to know that she is really adapting to this new lifestyle that she has. And I hope that she can go back. You know, Diva, I would love to see her go back to Potomac, but sometimes when you have a new lifestyle, you can't go back to the old way of things. And as wonderful and grand and hilarious as Karen has been on the show, because of the things that comes with Bravo, I don't know if that would be healthy for her sobriety. And most importantly is her health and her sobriety. Let me ask you this. Do you think the ladies will be willing to stop the drinking around her in order to bring her back?
But they wouldn't need to stop because that's not life and that's not realistic.
Okay.
Right. And I'm not saying that you need to put yourself in a situation all the time where people are drinking. Remember, she did it towards the end because we learned the last season she was on, towards the end, we had already learned that she had the DUI.
Correct.
And remember, she was saying at different places, give me a soda, give me a ginger ale, give me a coffee or whatever. So you got to learn how to be around said situations. But I'm not saying that if you used to go to the crack house on 4th Street, that you need to go to the crack house every day on 4th Street so that you could prove that you recovered. I'm not saying that. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I think that what I don't like the way is these people questioning whether she's worthy enough to come back. Teresa Giudice, they did a whole tax thing and she came back.
Hello. Teresa Giudice, Dorit. No, it wasn't Dorit. It was
There's many of people that did some things. And then on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Carl Richards' sister, I forgot her name right now, she came back and forth and she clearly had a drinking problem. So why do we have to act like, you know, Karen needs to kiss the ring and prove all of this to come back? It's just not right. People need to stop and knock it off. She didn't kill anybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, she didn't kill anybody. She served her time according to what society has told her she should serve. Right. And she did what she was supposed to do. She went to AA. She is still active in her AA classes. I mean, I really think that she is actively doing the work to a better version of herself. And that's what matters most. So cut the judge.
Paige. I'm sorry. Thank you, Paige. It's Kim Richards. So Kim Richards came back. They even brought what's her name, Katie from the Real Housewives of Potomac, and they knew full blown well that Katie had an addiction problem, right? She had a drug addiction problem, and they brought her back multiple times. So don't do Karen like this. It's not right. She did her time. You know, I heard Giselle is the one that really don't want her back.
I could believe that.
Yeah, Giselle don't want her back. Well, you know, Giselle, get over it. Get over it.
You ain't been bringing nothing to us anyway, so.
And let your fellow sister get her check. Yeah, Shannon from the OC. I want to say she had a drinking problem too. So no, there's so many people that came back. And Shannon, I think, had a DUI, right? Oh, and then Luann, what's her name? Is she from was she from New York? She was from New York. She slapped the cop. He had DUIs. Yeah. So no, I don't like this. Oh, which one Monique had a breathalyzer, had to get a breathalyzer on the car? Which one had to get that? Tell me real quick before we close out.
A breathalyzer in the car.
Yep. Oh yeah, the Countess was wild. She literally slapped the cop. Okay. How you slapped that Countess Lynn? I believe it was Shannon. Oh, that's right. Well, thank you, Monique. She said Shannon had to get a whole, and she's from the OC, had to blow before her steering wheel could turn.
I can't.
You know, for the first time, one time in New York, Royaire, I actually saw one of those. It was interesting where the guy had to blow because when he came to park in the parking lot, you know, like when you go to the parking lot or whatever, and he told the guy was like, I was like, how is it this guy gonna blow in it over this guy's mouth? But yeah, he had to actually blow in it in order for the car to, like, you know, move or whatever. Yeah, and park it. Yeah. So that's the part I didn't like. I mean, I liked her answer somewhat, saying, you know, I have to earn my second chance. But I think she said that because the people are being so hard on her. But I think for sure Karen should get another chance because we've seen countless others get them over and over and over again. Why not Karen?
Why not Karen?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, that is that on that. Well, listen, everybody, we appreciate y'all for joining us tonight. I know we ran a little longer than normal, but we truly appreciate your participation tonight. Remember, if you did not hit the like button when you came in on Chronicles of the Gray-Haired Diva or Royaire's World, make sure you hit the like button on both of our channels as you go out. You can just click on Royaire's World or Chronicles of the Gray-Haired Diva, hit the like button, and then if you're not a subscriber, make sure you hit that subscribe button and your notification bells on all. That way you see each and every time we post a video with you in mind. Make sure you join us tomorrow night, Tuesday, for Married to Medicine, episode 8. So make sure you tune in for that. It was a pretty good episode yet again. So I'm excited to talk about that. And then Diva, I believe Thursday, I will be available for us to do our looks for the reunion as season 10 reunion of the Real Housewives of Potomac will be airing next Sunday. So if you did not catch that trailer, make sure you look at that trailer and we're going to talk about that. So I believe that is everything, Diva. Anything else before we go? Oh, make sure you join Diva for Trending Topics tonight around 8:30. She will be live for Trending Topics. So make sure you join her for that as well.
That's it. Thank you, guys. We appreciate y'all for hanging in there with us for almost 2 hours.
I know, right? But this was so worth it. Such a great interview. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Hit that like button and subscribe. Good night and goodbye, everybody.
Royaire's World.